Happy Friday, everyone. It is the day before the event. I'm sorry if you hear my air conditioner running. It is like 80 degrees here in New York today, and they're saying it's less humid, but it feels just as humid as it did yesterday, and probably what it's going to feel like tomorrow. Today, I'm just going to pack up the candles and everything early and get it out the way so that I could kind of relax and rest, because I have not been getting much sleep the past couple of days. I don't know if it's because of stress from having to make sure everything is prepared for the market, or because of personal stuff that I'm dealing with as far as my father's stuff goes. But I'm gonna try and pack everything today. The only issue is my living room is kind of warm, so I am fingers crossing that my candles don't start to sweat on top. It is soy wax, so soy wax is really soft, especially the wax that I use. It's really soft, so when it comes to extra heat, it tends to sweat on top. So I'm going to be looking out for my relaxing shoreside candle and my morning escape candle, because those two have dye in it, and yeah, it kind of has a different effect when it comes to going over its heat point. But I'm going to pack the candles today and get everything prepared this morning, so that I can do some finishing touches for a little bit and then relax for the rest of the day. Alright, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to separate all the inventory so I know what goes in what and how many bins I need. As you saw, I just printed out my checklist for this market. I actually love this thing because it organizes me so well, and then I know what I need to take with me, and I can check it the night before and the morning of. So I'm going to put all the inventory that I'm taking with me onto my craft table, so then I can sort out what needs to go where. Okay, so here is all my 8 ounces. I'm only taking 4 morning escape because they seem to not be doing well. Well, they didn't do well with the last market. So instead of taking 6 of them, I'm just going to take 4. And if anybody wants to order them, they can always order them online. I'm still trying to figure out how to give them a special code because they were at the market. So yeah, I just got the idea. So I'll be making that today when I'm done packing up everything. But here is all my 8 ounces that I'm taking with me. And now I'm going to do the 4 ounces. so now I have all my inventory that I'm taking with me. It is definitely a lot, but not all of my supply. So that's a plus. There is one that still needs a label. This is a common spa day. I thought it had a label, so I had to put a label on this one. But yeah, that's everything for the candles. I have my 4 ounces here, I have my 8 ounces there, and I have my sample tins over there for people to smell what each candle looks. Oop, I keep saying look. What each candle smells like. Alright, so now we're going to pack this stuff into those bins. Alright, so I have the first one all packed. I'm not complete with it, but for the most part, I have it all packed in there. And now I'm going to start on the second one. Okay, so I thought I needed more spaces for the 4 ounces, but it looks like the 4 8 ounces that were left over fit in there. So now I can put the wax melts on top of here and the sample tins, and all the products will be in these 3 crates. Alright, so that was it for packing up all of the products. Everything else is pretty much, I have to reorganize that duffel bag that I took last time, and I'm going to try and see if I can fit all the bags in there because I'm not taking that cash box with me. I'm going to go ahead and take my little small box instead because I don't think I'm going to need that cash box because most people pay with card or Apple Pay or PayPal or whatever. So I'm just going to reorganize that. I'm going to print out a couple of other things and put into play my little idea of how I can reward people who come and I no longer have the product and they order from the Etsy shop and they'll put in a special code to get free shipping. But that is it for today. I am going to wrap it up and I will see you all tomorrow when I'm getting ready to head out the door to this event. And hopefully, fingers crossed, my candles do not melt in the New York humid heat because we get a lot of humidity here. But yeah, that is it for today. I will see you guys tomorrow. Good morning, everyone, and it is the day of the event. I am running behind, so I'm not going to talk too much in this intro here, but I am going to take everything downstairs and get ready to go, and I will see you all at the event. All right. I am here. I don't know if you can hear me, but I am here at the event, and I'm going to set up soon and try and show you guys my setup for today's event. All right. Quite hear me, but I am here. I am all set up, and as you can see, I am sitting in the sun. Had to change the setup a little bit because while it's not hot and humid, it is blaring down on my table. So hopefully, fingers crossed, my candles do not melt as bad, but we will see, and I will check in with you guys throughout the event. if you guys can hear me, but I am checking in. It is a little after 3 o'clock. So far I've only had one sale today. It is hot and humid out here, and I am sitting under an umbrella, as you can see. I have 3 more hours to go, but hopefully things will pick up a little bit. It's kind of hard to sell candles out in the heat, but I'm trying my best. I will probably check in again a little later before the event is over. All right, guys. Alright guys, it's winding down to the last hour. I think I have about, I want to say 30 minutes, more like 36 minutes. I don't even know. I know that it's winding down to the end, and I am tired and ready to break everything down and head home. The music is good. The crowd, not so much, but I'll talk about that in the recap once I'm done here and take a day a day to rest. All right, guys. Happy Tuesday, everyone. It is now 3 days after the event. I hope you all enjoyed your Memorial Day weekend. Yesterday was my birthday, so I am now officially a year older. And I really didn't do anything for my birthday simply because my father, I'm still grieving my father, and we shared birthdays. So his was the 23rd and mine is the 27th. And for as long as I can walk and talk, we have always shared our birthdays together. So this was my first year not sharing a birthday with him. So yesterday was kind of difficult. I didn't do anything for my birthday or for Memorial Day. My sister grilled some hamburgers and hot dogs. We have an indoor grill, and she grilled some hamburgers and hot dogs, and I just laid in bed all day. I ignored everything and just kept to myself. But yeah, today is a new day, and today I am here to recap for you all the Spring Fling event that happened on Saturday. So, enough of me rambling. I have my notes here in this book, and also on my computer. I kind of organized it a little bit better. So let's get into um, the recap. So, as you saw, I couldn't do much of an intro on Saturday because I was running a little late to get downstairs. My cousin and his kids came to help me transport everything to the market, and my sister came along for support and in case I needed any type of help because this one was going to be bigger and is bigger than the first market. So I figured all hands on deck and I could get some help with whatever comes. So I needed to be there at 12:30 and I ended up getting there on time, but we had to find a way to drop me off so that I can go check in. So I found the check-in desk and I checked in and they escorted me to my spot, um, which was kind of disappointing. It was kind of disappointing because I had communicated with the people who worked the event probably about 2 weeks before about my spot because I have candles and being in the sun would be a huge issue. So I wanted to have like a spot where there was shade and I wouldn't have to worry about my candles melting because the wax that I use right now is soy wax, and soy wax because it's so soft, it tends to melt when the sun is hitting it. So um, when I found my spot, when he showed me my spot, I was a little disappointed. Saturday was 83 degrees and there wasn't a cloud in the sky and it was nice and sunny. Beautiful day, gorgeous day. If I wasn't doing that event, I'd probably be out somewhere heading to eat with my sisters because I was doing this event. And where they put me at, it wasn't ideal for my candles. So I couldn't quite set up my table the way I wanted to. And thank God my sister was there to brainstorm some ways of showing the products. So as you saw in that video, we ended up putting it under some shade, aka my shelves. We flipped the shelves around and we only put out 3 candles, and we draped the cloth on the other side. And the bags that you saw that was on display on the shelves were filled with candles. My little samples that I made ended up melting. The good thing is I had my little lunch bag with me that had an ice pack at the bottom. So I put the little sample cans, the little sample tins inside there so that they can just like harden. Um, and I'll be able to put them out on the table. Excuse me. I'll be able to put them out on the table so that people can smell what the candles smell like. Um, it was very slow and I mean, very slow. And when I say very slow, I mean in sales wise and interactions. Where the event was, it was at one of our parks. Um, I'm horrible at names, but I'll put the name up there. It was at one of our parks, downtown Manhattan, um, 34th Street. So there's a lot of 34th Street is one of our touristy spots. And there was a lot of tourists walking around. There were some regular people. It's like if you live in New York and you're from New York, you can tell who's a local and who isn't. So, but there were some um locals there, but for the most part, it was a lot of tourists. Um, my sister did try to like she found the Walgreens and she went and bought 2 umbrellas and hopes that it would like cover and give shade to the candles. It didn't quite work for the candles, but it did for us because it became our shade afterwards. The wax melts did better than the candles did in the sun. And it wasn't so much the humidity because it gets really humid here in New York, but it was just the sun being above and shining down and it not having any type of shade. That's what started to melt the tops of my candles. So it was just a lot of checking on them, making sure they're not completely melted, and yeah, just waiting for people to come and actually stop at the table or acknowledge that we were there. As the time, of course, went, the sun started to go behind one of the big buildings that was there, and I was able to finally put out the full display of the table, which me personally, I think helped better than when it was the other way. Because people were now able to see the product better. They were able to come and smell what the products are like and ask questions. Before, I will say that it wasn't very inviting the first setup when we first got there. But the second part, the second setup was definitely a lot better and a lot more effective. So I did take some notes, of course. Some are notes that I got from the event itself, and some are just some takeaways from the event. So the first thing was, of course, it was a beautiful day, a beautiful Saturday. New York has been in rain a lot lately, and we haven't gotten like a full week of just sun and good weather yet. The sun was out and it was like 83 degrees. The humidity was low. So it was a really, really, really beautiful day. I would have loved to have just been out there in the park somewhere, which technically I was in a park, but in the park not selling, trying to sell something. But the day was a gorgeous day. So the other thing that I noticed about this event was there was, like they said, a ton of foot traffic. My vendor spot was on the sidewalk, so they had vendors on the sidewalk. They had vendors inside the park, and they had some vendors by the music stage that was set up, or the music spot that was set up. Um, there was a lot of foot traffic. However, that foot traffic was probably about 90% tourists. So they really weren't stopping at the vendors' tables as much as we expected. If anything, the majority of the people that were on the side that I was were sitting there waiting for someone to like come and talk, or even if we talked to them, they really weren't stopping really, or they would stop. I know at my table they stop, they pick up a candle, or they would ask what this is. When they point to the wax melts, I let them know and they go, oh, okay, and then they walk off. So they weren't really looking to like shop for the most part at our booths. So foot traffic, okay, but it was mostly tourist people. The other thing that I took from this event was they did have music artists there. And all the music was such a good vibe. It was, it fit so well with the weather of the day. It wasn't harsh music. You heard some of it in one of the clips. Um, they were all local performers, and I just really enjoyed the music. If anything, on my downtime time, which was a lot of downtime, I just took in the music and just talked to my sister, and we just watched the performances. And then another thing I also took away from it was well, not so much took away from it, but I noticed is that they put my booth, my vendor's table, right across from another candle business. And her setup was so amazing. I just was in awe with her setup and her candles and her vessels. But they put us like literally across from one another. Um, I think they had four, yeah, they had either three or four candle businesses that were vendors that day. And it seemed like they just paired us up together because they put me and her business across from each other. And then behind me, they put two other candle businesses right in the same vicinity of each other. So planning wise, if they would have just spaced us out, um, yeah, it wouldn't have been so like, oh my gosh, there's candles here and candles there. Because I did see that on some people's faces as they're walking by. They're like, oh, great. Candles. Candles. I did have some takeaways from this event, which two of them are on here. Two of them my sister actually wrote down, and that is spraying the table with the scent of one of my candles. So that vendor that I was talking about that was right across from me, the candle business, my sister noticed that she took some spray of one of her candles. She already had it made, of course, and she sprayed the table to try and entice people into I guess, ask questions about the scent, about if that's one of her products, so that was something that I'll probably be thinking about going forward. The other thing was something that I had already did, but she suggested doing a separate space for it, was to have an ice pack just for the tins. Packing a little one of those little lunch boxes for the tins and just put an ice pack in there. We have a ton of them in our freezer. Um, and I thought that was a good idea for days that have either the sun is like blistering like it was Saturday, or if the humidity is up, because it can get extremely humid here in New York where it's just unbearable. So if ever I find myself doing the market and the weather is like that, then I can also pack for a ice pack just for the products, mainly the sample tins. And then the final thing that she also wrote down, because she wrote down three things here. The final thing was to make a sign that tells why you should pick Lanacia candles. Um, I thought that was interesting. I don't mean to steal like thoughts from others, but I can make it my own. But the vendor across from me, the candle business across from me, I noticed that she did have a sign up that said "Why" and her company. I think that's like really smart to be able to tell people what your business is about, your story behind your business, and put it up there. It's a way to get it out there without having to push it on people, I think, where you have to like constantly talk to them. They can just come by, read the story. I've seen it on plenty of other vendor tables from when I went to a couple of markets last year. So, that is something moving forward I'm definitely going to do. I just have to make it up and print it out and put it on the table so people can hear the story behind why I started this business and what Lanacia candles stand for. Okay, now we've come to the moment that I think you've all been waiting for. Did I make any sales after all I just mentioned about this market? And yes, I did make some sales. I made four sales for the day, less than my first market, but I still made the sales. I'm going to go over, I got my phone here, and I'm going to just go over how much I made for this market. So for gross sales, it says, and I'm a little weary about this because I have to do the math myself to see if this is correct, because it didn't feel like I made this. So for gross sales, I made $124. Net sales was $96.50. I made four sales on the day. The average was $31 average sale. There was no refunds. And as far as the discount goes, I made a complete blunder of my sales, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. But for discounts and comps, I had minus the $27.50. So I thought that my sale, because I was going to do the same sale that I did the first market for this market, and I thought that my sale was all set up in my Square app, and come to find out it wasn't. So I had forgot that I had set a time limit for that sale, which was just for May 11th. So instead of charging the first customer the sale that I set up, it took 50% off of the whole sale. So I ended up losing out on $27.50. That is my blunder. And now I know moving forward that if I'm going to do a sale for a market, which I'm not going to do it for every single one, but if I'm going to do a sale for a market, I'm going to make sure that I set up my Square online before heading to the market. Now, I'm not so bummed out about missing out on the 2750 because my first sale was my cousin. He actually bought three of my candles. So it's a loss, but it's not a complete loss. So I tend to give family a discount anyway from time to time. So it's okay that I lost out on that one. But moving forward, I will definitely be making sure that the sale is set up properly so that it works properly when I'm at the market. So, will I do this market again? And the answer is no. No, I won't be doing this market again. What I learned from it is that the demographic of people that come to that market is not my target audience that I want, my target customer. They're mostly tourists, and I'm looking for people who are more local, who are going to help me build locally. So they are not my demographic. Um, and I didn't reach my sales goal for this market. I didn't even make back well, yeah, I did. I made back my vendor's fee, but I didn't hit my goal. So, um, I don't know. I don't think this market is for me. I would attend it as a visitor, but as far as vending goes, no, I won't. I won't be doing this market again. Now, I do have my next market coming up on June 23rd, and that is the one that I actually wanted to do. And I applied for on my own and didn't make it. And I ended up getting a spot through my community that I'm a member of, which is wonderful because now I get to be a vendor here and get to experience this one. I am hoping that there'll be more sales because this market is something that happens every weekend, all year round. And it's mostly local people that come to this market and they're always looking for either new vendors or favorite vendors there. So I'm hoping that this one is more of an outcome and I'll actually reach my target goal for this one. And also, I really want to learn more about it. That was it for this recap video and the event and the whole thing. I hope you enjoyed everything that you saw in this video. And if you did, then please hit that like button. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you could be notified when the next new video comes out. Um, I will definitely also show preparation for that event coming up as well. You can follow me also on social media, on Instagram. The links are in the description down below. And also my Etsy shop is also in the description down below. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It was an event. I'll say it was an event, and I'm glad I did it, even though the outcome of it wasn't the outcome that I wanted. I still took away something from it, and I still learned from it, and me doing these more and more only helps me grow more and more into learning what my business, um, my target customers are, and what I'm looking for in hopes of turning people into potential customers long term. So I'm glad I did the event, but I definitely will be looking at other avenues moving forward. Yeah. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. It was a good event. It just wasn't for me and my business. But that was it, of course. That was it. I am going to wrap this video up. Once again, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your week. And don't forget to show yourself a little more appreciation. So until next time, this is Tammy saying, take care, everyone.